When everything goes quiet, when the messages stop, the support disappears, and even your own strength feels like it's leaking away. This is the moment most people call the end. But what if it's not the end? What if it's the beginning of the real you? Because as long as you still have backups, you keep leaning on what feels familiar. People, money, distraction, pride. Yet when God becomes the only place left to stand, something changes inside you. The loneliness doesn't just hurt, it exposes. The silence doesn't just scare, it teaches. And the emptiness doesn't just break you, it makes room for a power you couldn't carry before. If you're in that season right now, don't click away. This may be the chapter where God rebuilds you from the ground up. When a man has no one but God, the first battle is not outside, it's inside. Because the moment everything falls away, you are forced to face what you used to avoid. You realize how much of your confidence was borrowed from applause, how much of your peace was rented from stability, how much of your identity was stitched together by other people's opinions. And God, in His quiet precision, allows the props to move not because He enjoys your pain, but because He refuses to let you live a life that depends on fragile things. This is why the season feels so sharp. It's not only loss, it's exposure. It's the moment your life stops being a performance and starts becoming a foundation. At first, it feels like abandonment. You replay conversations. You question your decisions. You wonder why the people who said they loved you can walk away so easily. But slowly, the truth begins to dawn. Some departures are not rejection, they're protection. Some doors close because God knows what you don't. Some friendships fade because they were connected to a version of you that God is retiring. And yes, that hurts, because it feels personal. But if you look closer, you'll see the pattern. God is separating you from what would have kept you comfortable, but small. The pain is not random, it's directional. Then comes the silence, real silence. Not the kind you can fill with noise, but the kind that follows you into the room when the lights are off. And this is where many men break, because silence has a way of bringing every unhealed thing to the surface. In silence, you remember what you buried. In silence, you feel what you postponed. In silence, you can't outrun yourself. But here is the hidden mercy. The silence is not your enemy. It is God's classroom. Because in the quiet, God begins to teach you what crowds never could. He teaches you to sit with yourself without escaping. He teaches you to pray without performing. He teaches you to listen, not for a dramatic sign, but for a steady voice that says, I'm here, even now. This is also the season where faith becomes real. Anyone can talk about God when life feels predictable. But when a man has nothing left, no guarantee, no safety net, no easy way out, faith stops being a slogan and becomes a lifeline. You start discovering that prayer is not a ritual, it is oxygen. You start discovering that scripture is not a quote, it is a rope. You start discovering that worship is not a mood, it is a weapon. And you may not feel strong while you do it. In fact, you often feel weak. But that is the point. God is not building a man who only trusts Him when he feels powerful. God is building a man who trusts Him even when he feels empty. Now here is what most people don't understand. When God becomes all you have, He is not trying to reduce your life. He is trying to rebuild it with the right weight distribution. Because if your life is leaning on the wrong pillars, it will collapse the moment pressure increases. So God strengthens the center. He teaches you dependence, not as a shameful thing, but as a holy alignment. In the wilderness, dependence looks like daily bread. It looks like, today I will obey. It looks like, I don't know how it will work out, but I will not compromise. And as simple as that sounds, it is the birthplace of real power. Because the strongest men are not the ones who never need help. The strongest men are the ones who know where to go when they do. And while you are learning dependence, God is also cleaning your appetite. He begins to remove cravings that used to control you. Some men reach for pleasure to numb pain. Some reach for validation to silence insecurity. Some reach for anger to feel in control. Some reach for distractions to avoid their thoughts. But when those things no longer satisfy, you begin to see the truth. You were not hungry for noise, you were hungry for peace. You were not hungry for attention, you were hungry for identity. You were not hungry for revenge, you were hungry for justice. And only God can feed that kind of hunger without poisoning you in the process. This is why the season feels like pruning. Pruning is violent to a branch that doesn't understand harvest. The cutting looks like loss. The reduction looks like regression. The empty space looks like defeat. But pruning is not the end of growth, it's the strategy for more fruit. God prunes what is unnecessary so that what remains can carry weight. He prunes distractions so you can see your purpose. He prunes certain relationships so your soul can breathe again. He prunes habits that were slowly killing you, even if you called them normal. And yes, in the moment, it feels like God is taking. But later, you realize He was making room. Here's the turning point. You start to stop begging people to understand you. You start to stop chasing the ones who left. You start to stop proving your worth to the ones who never valued it. And that shift is not bitterness, it's maturity. Because a man who has met God in the lonely place stops building his life around human approval. He becomes steady. He becomes anchored. He stops needing to win every argument because he is no longer fighting for identity. He stops needing to impress everyone because he has already been seen by the one who matters most. And in that steady place, God starts rebuilding your character in private. Not your image, your character. Because image can be managed, but character is what you are when nobody is watching. This is where God teaches you integrity. He teaches you discipline. He teaches you patience. He teaches you restraint. He teaches you how to respond without exploding, how to stay silent without being passive, how to speak truth without becoming cruel. And when you fail, and you will fail sometimes, He doesn't discard you. He corrects you. Because God is not raising a perfect man. He is raising a submitted man. If you're still with me right now, don't miss this. What feels like nothing is often God removing the wrong sources so you can finally meet the right one. That's why the enemy tries so hard to convince you that you're alone. Because if you believe you are alone, you will lower your standards. You will settle for less. You will go back to what broke you. You will accept comfort over calling. But if you realize God is with you, you will endure. You will heal. You will grow. And you will come out different. So let me ask you something quietly. Honestly, are you in a season where you've been relying on God more than ever before? If yes, I want you to type one word in the comments right now. Still. Still praying. Still trying. Still standing. Still believing. Your comment isn't for me, it's a marker in the timeline of your life. Because one day, you will look back and recognize this season as the season you were forged. You will see how the loss made you wise, how the loneliness made you strong, how the silence made you listen, how the disappointment made you discern, how the delay made you disciplined, how the closed doors saved you from wrong rooms, how the tears softened you without breaking you, how the pressure trained you for what you asked God for. And the best part is this: you don't have to understand everything right now. You only have to stay faithful with what's in front of you. You only have to take the next step. You only have to keep your heart clean in a world that keeps trying to make it hard. So if you're wondering what happens next when a man has no one but God, this is what happens next. The man stops being carried by what is temporary, and he starts being built by what is eternal. His life becomes less noisy, but more powerful. Less crowded, but more focused. Less desperate, but more disciplined. Less reactive, but more peaceful. And that is not weakness. That is a man being rebuilt the right way, slow, deep, and unshakable. When a man has no one but God, the world may call it lonely, but heaven calls it holy. Because this is the place where you stop living on borrowed strength and start learning what it means to be carried by grace. This is the place where your life stops being a reaction to people and becomes a response to God. And that shift is not small. It changes the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you love, and the way you endure. You may not feel it day by day, but something deep is happening. God is not just helping you get through a hard season. He is shaping who you will be when the season ends. You see, losing support hurts, but it also reveals. It reveals what was never stable. It reveals what was never safe. It reveals what was never strong enough to hold the weight of your calling. And if you're honest, some of the things you miss were not even good for you, they were just familiar. Familiar can feel like home even when it is slowly killing you. That's why God sometimes allows the familiar to fall apart. Not because He wants to punish you, but because He refuses to let you stay trapped in what is beneath who you are becoming. So yes, you're allowed to grieve. You're allowed to feel the ache. You're allowed to admit the disappointment. Faith is not pretending it doesn't hurt. Faith is choosing God while it hurts. Faith is saying, Lord, I don't understand, but I trust you. Faith is staying soft in a world that tries to harden you. And that kind of faith, quiet, steady, undefeated, moves heaven. One of the most powerful things that happens in this season is that God teaches you to stand without needing revenge. A lot of men confuse revenge with strength, but revenge is often just pain looking for a place to land. God teaches you something higher: to forgive without becoming foolish, to release without forgetting lessons, to heal without returning to what harmed you. And when you learn that, you become dangerous to the enemy, not because you are loud, but because you are free. A man who is free inside cannot be controlled by rejection, cannot be bribed by approval, cannot be broken by silence. He can be tested, but he will not be owned. And as you keep walking, God begins to give you new eyes. You start seeing people differently. You start noticing red flags you used to ignore. You start recognizing patterns that once trapped you. You start choosing peace over ego. You start choosing obedience over impulse. You start choosing purpose over popularity. And slowly, your life becomes cleaner, not perfect, but cleaner. Your words become sharper, not cruel, but clearer. Your standards rise, not because you think you're better than others, but because you finally understand the cost of going backward. This is also the season where your relationship with God becomes personal, not secondhand, not inherited, not something you only reach for when you are afraid. Personal, real. You stop treating prayer like an emergency button and start treating it like connection. You stop reading scripture like information and start receiving it like direction. You stop asking God only for solutions and start asking Him for transformation. And that is the true miracle. Because the greatest miracle is not just that God changes your situation, it's that He changes you. If you're listening to this and thinking, but I feel like I'm behind. I feel like I lost time. I feel like I lost so much. Let me tell you something with love. God is not limited by your timeline. He can restore years. He can accelerate growth. He can open doors that no man can shut. But more importantly, He can bring you into the right room as the right man. Because getting the blessing without becoming the right person is not a reward, it's a risk. So God doesn't just give you what you want. He prepares you to carry it without it destroying you. And that is why this season matters. Because one day, you will meet people again, not the ones who used you, but the ones who value you. You will build again, not on fragile foundations, but on truth. You will love again, not from neediness, but from wholeness. You will succeed again, not to prove something, but to steward something. You will lead again, not to be seen, but to serve. And when that day comes, you will realize the loneliness was not your enemy. It was your furnace. It was your filter. It was your training ground. So don't despise the quiet. Don't rush the process. Don't run back to what God delivered you from just because it feels familiar. Stay faithful. Stay clean. Stay prayerful. Stay disciplined. If you can't do everything, do one thing. Show up again tomorrow with your heart still open to God. Because the man who keeps showing up, especially when nobody is clapping, is the man God can trust. And before we end, I want to speak directly to you. If you feel like you have no one, you still have God. And if you have God, you are not without hope. You are not without help. You are not without a future. You may be in a chapter where your hands feel empty, but empty hands are not useless hands. Empty hands can receive. This is the chapter where God teaches you that He is enough, not as a religious phrase, but as a lived reality. And that reality will keep you steady in storms, humble in victories, and peaceful in waiting. Now, let's do this together because someone else needs this message too. If this hit your heart, comment "God is enough," so the algorithm pushes this to another person sitting in silence tonight. Like the video so it reaches the one who feels unseen. Share it with a friend or a brother who's carrying more than he says. And subscribe if you want more faith-based encouragement that strengthens you from the inside out. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What part of your life is God rebuilding right now? Your faith, your relationships, your discipline, or your purpose? Your words might be the confirmation someone else has been praying for. Because when a man has no one but God, he doesn't end, he begins. He begins to live with backbone, with clarity, with peace, and with a fire that doesn't come from pride, but from presence. And one day, when the chapter turns, you will be able to say it without arrogance and without fear. I lost what I thought I needed, and I found what I truly needed all along. God built me from the ground up.